all sooner had it not been for the fact that literally dropped Han off at work, grabbed up some chicken nuggets, and then made like almost enough chicken nuggets to put a man in a coma.
Okay. Well,
So yeah,
careful with the chicken nuggets, I guess. Welcome to
I'm just
Fandom
saying.
Night, the show that wonders how the blaster bolts missed Luke. And I'm not talking about all the guys that can't see. I'm talking about the trench run. I've had this desire to go back and watch, and because of that, I saw something that I know I've seen a million times and just let go, but like on the trench run, there is a moment where he says, I have you now, and he's twisting all the stuff and everything, and then he fires, and a bunch of green bolts come out of the TIE fighter, and then the guy beside him blows up. And that's when we're introduced to Han, where everybody goes crazy, and he's like a woohoo, and everything blows up, and he tries to turn, he hits Vader, and they both kind of spin out into the sides. And my thought process has always been, he had an absolute deadlock on Luke. He had it. It was locked. The machine and everything was... And you can't play the game. The Rebels' computers were damaged. They weren't right. The information was wrong. You can tell because there's a lot of information leading up to the moment before Luke uses the Force and fires that the machine was never going to hit the target. It was calibrated wrong. It was wrong. There's instant after instant after instant that shows us that the machine would have never worked. The computer was wrong. Their best guys could not make the shot with perfect pinpoint computer accuracy. But Vader, every time his TIE fighter lights up, and he fires, he kills a guy. So their computers aren't broken. So how's Luke alive? I know I'm not supposed to think that far into it, but I think he's supposed to be dead. Like, I know the plot protects him. I know.
That's what I was about to say. It's because he has the greatest Jedi power ever.
Right.
Plot armor.
The plot. That has always bothered me. It's funny to me. He should be very dead. Like, there's very little actual... you can play all kinds of angles and do your headcanon and the Force, which is a stand-in for the plot. If you rewatch all of Star Wars and just replace the word the Force with the plot, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's literally what they follow. They're like a group of monks that have realized they live in a TV world or a movie world, and the plot makes the decisions. And as long as you follow the plot, your destiny is fulfilled. I mean...
The plot surrounds us.
Right.
It encompasses us all.
Exactly. It's the plot. But anyways, let's go over to the chat, see who's here. We got woohoo! We got SH Walking Meme hitting here first, and he's first in the room. We got RPG64DS. Heyo. Let's see, are we just doing Star Wars discussions today? I don't know. That's where we're starting. Yeah. Wherever it takes us from that point is wherever it takes us. We may have Shane. The call went out, but I'm going to tell you right now, almost 100% guaranteed, if Nick shows up, he'll be in the chat. That will be it. He will not be showing up for the show. He needs time off. There's very serious things going on in Nick's life. Let's see here. Okay, we got Kyryu Godzilla 1. Happy Star Wars Day, guys. What's up? Happy. Also to you, I've been thinking about it, man. I think I'm gonna watch those movies. I don't do this on the 4th, but like I've had this hankering to rewatch the movies in like the last month, and I don't know why. And then I bought this terrible Stormtrooper, and I don't know why.
Because you need content for your channel.
That's fair, whatever. That's fair. I can't argue with that. I need content for my channel. Let's see. The trench run was always my most studied scene of episode 4 because most of the other pilots' names, etc. Okay, that's fun. That's fair. I get it. No, there's a lot going on in that scene. That is a masterpiece of cinema. There's a reason that Star Wars exceeded past the group of guys that like sci-fi. Like, it's masterful storytelling in that end area in the trench. The Battle of the Death Star is one of the greatest masterpieces of cinema for a reason. It's fantastic visual storytelling. Let's see. I heard there was a scrapped scene where Luke had 2 trench runs and the second one was in the final cut. That could explain it if the bolts were supposed to kind of chase him out and then he would have to go back around or something. I don't know. Let's see. People are already commenting on that. It's magic. It's the Force. It was Ben. Ben just appeared outside the Death Star, standing on it with his cloak flapping and just slapped the bolts out of the way. Come on. It was Ben. Let's see. And exactly. Yeah, look at that. We got some action talk in here. The plot surrounds us. Absolutely. Let's see. Bill, there's a whole thing with the Wills who wrote the story fourth wall style. I haven't had a chance to read. There's a book called like From Another Point of View where it tells the entire Star Wars story, but from different people's points of view that seen it kind of from like a third person perspective, and it's supposed to be really cool. I bought the first book. I think there's one for all 3 original movies, and who knows, maybe they'll do a lot more. But it tells things like, it does like the cantina scene, but it tells it from an onlooker's perspective, somebody else whom was like working that day that saw the stuff go down. It's supposed to be really cool. It's supposed to be very well done. What is your lightsaber color? I like red, yellow. Always been yellow. Like, since I realized yellow was even an option back in KOTOR, that's been my color.
No, I understand that one. I kind of bounce around. Surprisingly, I usually end up picking red, but that's because nobody, whenever that we used to do, like, sabers up in the park, would ever want to be the Sith, back when we actually did, like, the RP with it. So I was like, all right, fine, I guess I'll play the bad guy, whatever.
Right.
But normally I usually end up trying to be, like, a silver. Okay, when it comes to KOTOR, depending upon the game, in the second game, I try to use the silver crystal. I actually just restarted playing 1 and then realized I screwed myself because I figured out how to access the console commands on the Switch by clicking the button 3 times. And hey, I just magically started level 1 with all the best gear in the game and gave myself the ability to use lightsabers when waking up and, hey, the ship's under attack. We got to go save Bastila. Cool, let me equip this lightsaber.
Cool, let me equip this lightsaber.
But I'm not supposed to get until after I get off the next planet.
Right, no joke.
But yeah, it's usually orange.
Action Talk is awake for Comic Book Day. He says he's up and he's going to go wait in line for Comic Book Day.
I forgot that was today.
You know, I have a guy at work that's been telling me, he's like, yeah, it's Comic Book Day. I'm thinking about going, yada, yada, because I think he's taking his kid. And I'm like, yeah, I think I've skipped the last 3 years, maybe the last 4. I took Gwen. The last picture I have of going to Comic Book Day, I have a picture of Gwen with a bunch of cosplayers. And that was the last time.
I remember that, yeah.
And I've had zero reason to go grab free books, but my reading habits have changed drastically. Like, just absolutely drastically. I just don't have the same drive to get a bunch of floppies that I used to have before. I'm just not I don't want to store all those books, and my intention more at this point is to read them, not like keep them. So it's very much changed the way I buy comics, which has kind of ruined the free comic books day thing for me, because I don't need a bunch of free books that I might not even read that I'll just put in long boxes and maybe read 2 of the 9 that I pick up. It just doesn't do anything for me. And then if I do pick up a free book, am I actually going to continue that line that I bought, or is it just like a book that's like a one-off that I'll hold on to forever, and like not even selling in a $1 bin can get rid of it for me? Like, it's just, it's really lost a lot of its luster with me. I say 2 trench runs because Big says, I can't cover you this time, or something similar a bit before Wedge had disengaged from the run. Let's see. I wonder if you two watched the behind-the-scenes documentary Empire of Dreams or read George Lucas's biography by Brian J. Jones. I have not. Mm-mm. Well, I don't know.
Nope.
That Empire of Dreams sounds familiar, but if I did watch it, I'm not recalling it. Let's see. And because I heard from some other Star Wars channel, let's see. He's got, looks like RPG is Green Saber. What's my favorite hilt? It has to work for my hand. Qui-Gon. It's because, like, I know the Darth Vader and the Luke hilts and everything, and people like stuff like that, but my problem with most lightsaber hilts is they're, like, jagged and unwieldy, and they hurt your hand. Like, when you start getting into actually playing and, like, trying to fight somebody else with a saber, you need something like what's going on over there, because it makes sense. That's fine for your hand. There's a reason you want more stability on the hand rather than some weird jagged button that's there that, like, if you try to spin it, or like if you move wrong and then it, like, goes again, pushes down on the butt. I hate that. It needs to be a functional, realistic hilt. The more crazy it is, the more I don't like it in all actuality. Right. From another point of view, our short stories for the original trilogy, there is one released for each film. Yeah, no, I said that. I have one of them. Let's see. Star Wars both suffered and prospered from Lucas's micromanagement of the movies. It worked for the original trilogy, but not much for the prequels. Yeah. George Lucas was not surrounded by yes men in the first 3 movies.
Yep.
He was making movies, and there were people that were willing to say, this isn't working, or this should go here, or I feel like we need stuff to fill time. Such as in the editing room, when they were able to second guess him and say, hey, I need stock footage, I need this, I need that, we need stuff to use, we need more tension in this moment. And then they got to 1, 2, and 3, and it was just a bunch of guys that Lucas was like, we're going to do this. And people were like, oh, absolutely we're going to do that. I mean, if he says we're going to do that, then it's going to absolutely be the best thing we've ever seen in our entire lives. And even still, I would say that the test of time has proved, regardless of whatever you want to say, the test of time has proved that the prequel movies are fine. Like, people watch them. In fact, there's an entire group of people that grew up with them that believe them to be the superior movies to the originals. I'm not one of them. I like the originals more, quite a bit more, but that doesn't change the fact that people latch on to things differently, and the test of time is what will determine what is a classic. And the fact that all 6 movies currently are pretty much considered Star Wars, then, I mean, we can't argue with the results of time.
Right. Plus, at the same time, if memory serves, I believe that somebody was saying that the reason why 4, 5, and 6 actually worked out very well was also the fact of, I believe it was Lucas's, I think now ex-wife, when he was making them, was basically there going, this shit ain't working. Yes, dear, I'll fix it. And then they split, and then, yeah, like you said, 1, 2, and 3 happen. People go, that's brilliant! Pod racing? Brilliant! We'll get the rednecks in! It's NASCAR! Brilliant! And nobody was there to go, why the fuck? Why even? Just grab the kid, get on the ship, fuck off, bye. Who cares?
Let's see here. Bill might like Ezra Bridges' first lightsaber. Has a hilt like a standard rapier and converted to a blaster. I like simple hilts. That's part of the reason I like Qui-Gon's hilt. It makes the most logical sense. See, from another point of view, made Bay Arthur's Cantina bartender from the holiday special canon. I mean, I don't care one way or another whether she is or not, in all honesty. I'm not really hung up on that the way that I used to be.
Right.
I agree with you, Bill, on the Yes Man thing, as in the original trilogy worked in spite of Lucas's micromanagement. Prequels suffered from it because of Yes Men, but they were still good enough. He said, RPG says he needs to rewatch the Clone Wars. I liked the Clone Wars, the series that came out. I thought that was really
I was about
solid.
to say, which Clone Wars?
The actual more canon. I know people love the Samurai Jack Clone Wars, but in all honesty, the superior story, the superior stuff that happened, and in a lot of ways, the superior series in general is easily the one that they did afterwards, the CGI one.
Right.
Pink Angel is in here. We got a hello. Which clone stormtrooper armors did you guys like? And the snowtroopers. I don't know why, but the snowtroopers, like, the first time I seen them, they seemed... They kind of like, I don't know. Like, I know the stormtrooper is meant to, like, invoke. It's meant to kind of shock you. That's what they are. That's why they dress the way they do. They invoke the idea of the skull and things like that. They come at you. They're fearless. They've been trained to basically throw their life away. Like, nobody really stops to think about that. But the reason people are kind of afraid of stormtroopers is, like, rewatch that scene when they're in the prison, right? And there's a tiny hole in the door. They blow a tiny hole in the door. And the stormtroopers don't bother to, like, throw in a grenade or, like, a flashbang or, like, do any kind of anything whatsoever. You got them trapped in the prison block. You could slowly pry the door open and then use literal SWAT team tactics to move through the door. They don't do that. They literally just step through the hole in the door, get shot, fall down, and the next guy just steps over them. They do not care. They've been brutally trained and brainwashed to a point where the objective is all that matters. They've been told, go in that room, retrieve that prisoner, done. That's it. That's all they do. Which then you can kind of laugh when, like, he shoots one of them and they retreat. You know, Han shoots the guy and then he starts screaming and they start retreating. And yeah, they're still human, so you could argue maybe those guys that when he came around the corner and he killed one and the two guys ran, they could be very new stormtroopers. But if you watch the general advancement of troopers, you will notice that they are ignorantly, like, fearless of the repercussions of anything that they are doing. Because even in the very first scene where they blow up the door and they invade the ship that Leia's on, they just walk through the door where blaster fire is continuously coming through. They don't take the side rails. They don't, like, notice every single rebel takes cover. They hide on the side rail. They kind of peek out. They shoot. The stormtroopers don't do that. They walk down the middle of the aisle, completely fearless, stand in the middle of covering gunfire, and just blast. Like, that's terrifying. The fact that, like, if they're coming after you, yeah, it gives you an advantage because they're about stupid, but that's also very dangerous because if they have no concern for their own well-being, they're going to take massive advantages that you would have never taken or thought to cover because they just don't care. They'll walk right down the middle and kill you. And if there's enough of them, they will get you eventually. That's crazy. It also allows for the heroes to be able to knock them down in the 50s. Like, they take out like 50 of them, maybe one hero dies. But, I mean, that's scary. It's scary to think that the Empire has that kind of control over its people.
Except for that one stormtrooper that, you know, smashes his head.
Well, actually, I guess... because that's actually written in...
He's not getting nobody.
Yeah, that's actually in a lot of different things. I guess the stormtroopers have problems like that constantly, but you could argue that the gear that they wear in order to create that shock factor, the skull helmet, I mean, I imagine if you wear one of those, you probably don't see very well. and it sits
Right.
higher above your head, and it's probably awkward, but the Empire doesn't care about that. They're looking for the shock value.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
that's always kind of had my attention. And when the snow troopers showed up, they looked even worse to me. I don't know why, but I remember my eyes kept catching them like I don't want those guys walking towards me. Like I don't know why, but I don't want those guys walking towards
Right.
me. I like the bike armor. I think the bike armor guys are cool in the jungle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually what I was gonna say. Is when I was a kid, the bike armor when they're actually on the on Endor's moon, chasing after Leia and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that armor, like when I was a kid, was the one where I was like, "That's the cool armor." Then when I got older, then I started seeing the clones and seeing like the blue and white that like Rex would wear, kind of shit. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Cool.
That's where I was like, okay, no, that's the good armor.
Let's see. Oh, I have seen that terrible movie, and I will not repeat that experience. That Christmas special Star Wars, I did watch that. Nope, not again. Let's see. I'll take
God
this as
damn
a
it, Jake.
I'll take this as a minor question for us, just in general. Greatest Star Wars character.
Ooh,
My favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon. That's no question. But character is that's a very big thing. Because you're talking about, like, I can't give it to Qui-Gon because he might be my favorite Jedi, but he doesn't survive long enough to really get the characterization that would push us forward. And I can't give it to Anakin necessarily. You know, I am going to give it to Luke, and there is actually going to be a reason. I like watching his naive presence slip away. I like the fact that he's a hero that fails over and over and over and over, and every failure leads him down the next path. Like, he
right,
makes stupid mistakes. He doesn't finish his training. He's eager. He's aggressive. He wants to move forward. He makes mistakes. He loses lightsaber fights. Like, the thing that I think people have attacked Rey for, and that this part of it, regardless of what you think of Rey, I'm not trying to create a big thing here. One of the reasons people move against Rey the way they do is because she doesn't feel like she ever fails. I can't think of a moment. Sure, she gets captured, but what did that really mean? A Zenkai boost? So that she
right,
could escape the chair, and then she basically got herself out of it. She didn't need to be rescued. Even like people love Princess Leia, and Princess Leia is absolute no bullshit when they have her in the prison, and she's the one that gets the guys out of that situation. They were just gonna stand in that hallway
right.
till they died. Sooner or later, the stormtroopers were gonna walk down that hallway and they were gonna die. But Leia was the one that got them out of that. She's the one that took the gun, shot, went across the lane into enemy fire, blew the hole in the sidewall, and was like, we're going down the garbage chute. We can't just sit here. We're going to die like idiots. But she needed to be rescued because she's a human with flaws, makes mistakes, fails, and then gets to move forward from that point. I like heroes that have to go through stuff. Like,
Right.
Rey just seemed to win all the time, and it is a viable reason to dislike the way her character is presented. Like, what
Yeah.
fight did she lose?
I don't know. I'm looking around for it. I don't see it.
'Cause
Shane, do you see it?
I feel like she didn't lose a direct confrontation fight even once. And you could argue that time that she gets, like, frozen by Kylo. But, like, even that, I don't know that it necessarily counts because, like I said, it's a straight up Zenkai boost moment. He was like, "See the Force? You see how that works? Oh look, now I have the Force too." And it just that bothers a lot of people, and I'm on board for understanding why it bothers people.
Right.
I think the only thing I could spot I can think of is when she gets captured in the first movie.
When she gets frozen,
Yeah,
which just leads to a Zenkai
yeah,
boost to
Right.
quadruple her
yeah.
power.
That's the only time I can think of where, because she was captured. She did get
She did
captured.
get captured, but she also
No,
did not need
Right.
assistance to escape it.
no, no, and that's actually when she was still discovering what she can do because she tells James Bond to let her go.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, because even when she fights Kylo Ren at the end, it's Finn who loses.
Right. It's Finn who loses.
Yeah.
In fact,
And
Finn I would count as the more interesting hero because he loses. I
yeah, he
would be
does.
Yeah.
interested to see where Finn goes in the chronology. I would be interested to see where he goes because he does fail and has to climb obstacles. Like, I just feel like they handed her too much.
Right.
They did because of her lineage. Her lineage is what gave her her broke
Yeah,
powers.
but then you could argue that you could argue that on some level Anakin was more powerful than Palpatine. Until he was
Yeah.
injured, he was more powerful. There's a very real possibility that he could have killed the Emperor had he just chosen to do so when he still had, a body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they put him in the suit, man, that suit, they capped his ass.
But at the same time, Luke is of that lineage, and Luke just takes L's all the time.
Right.
But I think what it comes down to is how fast they learn. Because
Right.
Luke was 18 when he decided to become a Jedi, and then everybody knows that that's way too late to start Jedi training. But he
Was
was
he?
able.
Because I thought he
It's
was like 16 or 17.
the problem. So here's the thing.
I thought he was 18.
It's way too late because the Jedi Order.
Says it was too late. Yes, I know. You can learn how to be a Jedi at any age. It's easier to train you from a child
The reason why it's
under,
easier.
under their
Yeah.
under their supervision.
Right. And the reason why it's easier to train you when you're a child is the same reason why, and don't misunderstand this, but it's the same reason why the military cutoff says, hey, you 18, 19 years old, come join the army.
Well,
The reason being, you're still like you're old enough to know that there's shit that you know,
but then
but
you
you're
can
not old enough to know that there's way more shit that you don't fucking know.
I would also put it down to the idea that if you get, I'm gonna comment on something that's gonna sound odd, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the same idea that you see in the Jet Li movie Unleashed. Get them young
Yes.
enough, get them young enough, and the possibilities are endless. You could teach a kid almost anything.
Yep.
That's part of the reason why we have to watch our kids, because they're shapeable at those ages. You get a kid at 4 years old and tell them how to live, why to live, when to live, exactly what their life is going to be, and they just kind of follow it.
Yep.
I mean, that's what they did with Raiden. In Metal Gear, Raiden became a platoon leader at 10 years old.
Right.
Yep.
And then
And
he was
became
never able to escape a life of combat and soldiering. It was literally the only thing he ever knew. And he never
he-
questioned any other possibility of life,
nope.
even
Nope.
when it was
Yep.
staring him in the face.
Yeah, he could have left. He could have left the life behind and went with Rose.
Right.
Oh, is it Rose? Is it Rose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And he did have a kid with her. Now, obviously, after Metal Gear Solid 4, he still didn't fucking sit down and have a happy life, because if you play Revengeance, which is technically a a game farther in the Metal Gear future, Raiden is still doing shit, fighting as a ninja.
Right.
So
All right.
he still didn't retire. because he can't. Deep down,
Yeah.
unfortunately, they want to quit. You can tell, you can see that they want to quit. But when you've been a soldier for your whole fucking life, hard to sit down and put your feet up and drink a lemonade and read the news
Exactly.
and read the newspaper when all you
Right.
want to
Exactly.
when all you
Shane, let me explain this to you. This is a Magneto was right situation.
no, Magneto's a bad motherfucker, and I love Magneto because in X-Men '97, Magneto's a motherfucking badass.
Uh, yes, but again, this is a Magneto was right.
Now listen,
What do these Jedi and their council need children for?
dude, Magneto,
Because Magneto was right.
yeah, Magneto's always right.
Not
No,
always.
no, in
In
'97,
this
man.
instance, in 97, in this instance, Magneto is right.
Listen,
However,
what I saw
not
that
always.
what I saw him when I saw him do when I saw him do
Uh-huh.
it after what happened to Storm, which I mean,
Uh-huh.
I knew something was going to happen. I knew somebody was going to get hit. I didn't know who. And then when I saw that it was going to be Magneto, I'm like, it ain't going to be Magneto. And then I seen Storm move. I'm like, oh, please don't take the Omega level mutant's powers. Don't do that. She's kind of broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that happened and Magneto just fucking lost his shit and just took everybody up to the air, I was like, oh shit. See, this is
Mm-hmm.
why you don't. That's why he's an Omega level mutant as well. A lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people realize that he's that strong.
Well, we know,
We know,
others may not.
and then when he's like, I'm not gonna kill you guys because I promised Charles that I would not do this. And I'm thinking, okay, Magneto, for once, man, your friendship with Xavier shows me that no matter the bigotry in the world, you watch your people be treated like shit, you still keep a promise to an old friend.
What
So
was that name you just said, Shane?
What?
Xavier? You're working with Xavier?
Yeah.
so we
Xavier.
got a question. What's your favorite species in Star Wars? I'm probably agree with him. It's probably Twi'leks. If I pick an alien race, I tend to like Twi'leks. I don't know 100% why.
Does it
I really
count?
don't.
Because
I
it's not.
there's something there's something elegant about them, and you know I'm kind of into that stuff. Like I like elves and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
there's something about them that I tend to like because they always seem somewhat elegant.
I mean, yeah, I'll agree to that one. If we're going with like just simply the races, then yeah, I'd probably agree with Twi'lek.
Now, because of where planet they come from, they're considered this, but they're not. It's not a race; it's a religion. Does a Mandalorian count? Because they're not technically. They're from the planet Mandalore, but Mandalorian is not technically a race; it's a religion. It's a way of life.
Yes and
I
no.
was
I
gonna
mean,
say
technically speaking, it
arguable.
depends on where you're speaking. Because if we go back to the games,
Yes.
technically the way that it's implied in KOTOR is that Mandalorians are literally a race.
And Mandalorians come from Mandalore. It's no
Mm-hmm.
different that
Right.
Earthlings come from Earth.
From Earth.
There's something different in their biology. It could be as simple as, and this is going to sound weird, but it could be as simple as humans exist in the same idea as a Nord. But if you looked at the two, you'd say they're the same thing. But a Nord
Yep.
isn't the same thing because something's going on with their body chemistry that allows them to wear that allows them to basically be nearly topless out in the snow in the woods chopping wood for their fire for the night. And they're just like,
Yep.
I'm out here getting the wood ready. And you're like, aren't you freezing to death? And he's like, ah.
This is like summer here, and
He's like,
It is my Nordic blood.
brisk. And that's about it. Like, so there's something different. We're incredibly comparable, But in video game ideas where they play with stuff like that,
Right.
the Nord is not human. In fact, it even has things like cold resistance and stuff
Yes,
like
it
that.
does.
So,
It does.
Right.
so the Mandalorians, they're incredibly close to what we are. They look human,
Right.
but there has to be something different biologically on some scale. Because they don't
Right,
seem to
same
be
thing with,
counted,
like-
and also other
Yeah.
people will count them out sometimes and specifically call them out. They'll be because like you've played video games where one will walk up and they'll say, "That's a Mandalorian" or some crap like that. And how do
Yep.
they know? Just
Well-
because the guy has a big gun, that doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna say Mandalorian, but if we can't count Mandalorian because that's such a weird one, I would say probably Wookiees. Wookiees are cool.
Wookiee.
Fair.
Wookiees are awesome. I mean, who wouldn't want a gigantic bear?
God
Fighting
damn it! Now I can
alongside
think
you.
of this as the fucking
And obviously,
outro for
and I-
Zebrahead song.
and obviously, learning, understanding what a Wookiee says is obviously super freaking simple because everybody knows what a Wookiee's saying. It seems like.
Yeah,
Same thing
it's
with-
kind of but it's the same joke as the Groot thing.
Right.
Yes.
After a while, everybody knows what Groot's saying, but that doesn't.
But you
Even
really
though
don't.
even though it was technically proven, because the theorists kind of broke that down and talked about is there enough in there to correlate a working language, and they did
Right.
find out that theoretically, yes, it is possible that with 3 words and different afflictions, that could be a
Yep.
real language that you could learn.
Well, I
But
think-
without basically being born into it, I don't know what the chance of an outsider really understanding every single nuance of it is.
Well, I think they tried. I think they proved something God, was it Endgame? Because Thor can understand and
Well,
can
you know,
speak.
Thor-
Speak what
Thor
can
lives a
speak
lot
what-
longer than us, and his schooling would be quite substantial compared to something like us. But realistically, if somebody was only capable of saying 3 words, if they lived with you long enough, you'd start to get the gist of how they said the words and when they said them.
Right.
But it would be really hard without being born into it to actually fully understand the way people just hear a Wookiee bark and they're like, "Oh, yep, yeah, that's what he said."
Yeah,
It's-
it's not the same as learning like French or German or
My
Spanish.
my
or
dog goes.
Klingon.
Yeah, my dog goes row 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 row. I don't know what the fuck that means. I have a general concept because I live with the dog, but
Right.
It's the same thing with learning droid. I mean, everybody understands what R2 is saying.
no, not really. That's the reason interpreters exist. That's the reason
Yeah.
things like C3PO exist, because those beeps and bops. I sometimes have a feeling that people are just responding to it as if they
Well,
have a general understanding, but you don't know what that thing is saying. Not all the
actually,
time.
I feel like
Right.
In fact,
I feel
Luke
like-
commonly will ask C3PO, "What's he saying now?" Or what's he on about?
True. I thought that because Luke does go on his own with with R2D2 when he goes to Dagobah.
Right.
there- and
That's
there-
what I was
and
about
there-
to say. Is that's later.
Man,
there's
we talk to our dog like that.
Right.
I do talk.
Something
like that.
bothering you? What you doing over there?
Yep.
How do you feel about that? Like we do that crap with our pets. It doesn't mean we can understand truly that thing beeps and boops and blah 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 babas. Like we don't know what that thing says, which is the reason the interpreters exist in general in that universe. We got somebody
Right.
here. Donald here is saying, I really like this channel. At the end of the year, I was very excited to hear that you were going to be refining the titles to make everything easier to find. Have you ever seen the show Gold Rush? I have not. I've only heard of it.
Same.
But that is an ongoing thing right now. We've got 2 of the X-Men things still. Well, okay, sorry. 1 X-Men thing is ready to go up, and then one of the crossover episodes is ready to go up, and then I'm pulling the next 5 off the main list to kind of go over them and see if they need chapters or retags and things like that, and then they'll be added to lists. It's a slow process, but
Yeah,
we
it's a
are
very
doing
slow
it.
process.
We are doing it. And I'm also
Yeah.
double backing all that work alongside all the stuff that I'm currently doing, so it is a lot of work.
Whereas my dumb ass, I've just been, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be lazy. For the last 3 weeks, I have not touched this computer. Now, to be fair, for the last week, um, to repeat, Nick and his family have been going through some shit. And
Yes.
since we're family, we've been going through it too. And,
Yes. I've spent
yeah,
I've spent I spent half of last week easily at Nick's, and then I've already been over there once. Once this week, he called me over, and I've kind of been talking to him on the phone and whatnot here and there, and yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot, and I have no idea how long it's going to take for him to, be okay. And chances are, I mean, realistically, I was talking to him about it. I told him it never really goes away. You get used to it.
yep. Yep. No, trust me. My wife still complains about that kind of stuff to this day.
Yep. Let's
So, yeah.
see. Kylo never comes off as a legitimate threat. I would argue that he never was on purpose, and I'm not trying to give a lot of credit. Listen, I
Yeah.
I need to rewatch those movies. I need to, because I need to determine where my mind actually sits with the prequel sequel movies. I'm fine with the prequels. I watch them. They don't bother me. I enjoy them and pick the parts out that I like. I love the original movies. The sequels I've only watched through one time in theaters, and then I watched again when I very first bought them. So I haven't had a chance to really sit with them and break them down and figure, but it always felt to me like even from the beginning, he was written as confused. That he was
Right.
manipulated, confused, and scared, but not honestly a bad guy. And he
Yep.
was trying very desperately to prove that he was.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's actually kind of legitimately what it was. He was not okay. So he was the main antagonist, but he wasn't supposed to be like a villain. It was supposed to be almost like a rehash of 4, 5, and 6, where instead of them copping out the fucking way that they did, they were supposed to bring in like a new, oh, well, this dude's the emperor and he's the one that's been pulling strings and blah, 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 blah. Because, the Skywalkers are, very, very confused, morally ambiguous people where they'll just do shit for the sake of doing shit, whether it's light side, dark side, neutral, doesn't matter.
And I'm going to say this. So Omar is right. I didn't necessarily want to use that word, but that's what I was insinuating. You just went ahead and used the word. Yes. What is actually going on in the Jedi Order is straight up indoctrination. They take you from your family when you're
Yep.
like 2 or 3. They plop you into a monastery, and they tell you how to think, why to think, when to think, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and they control every aspect of your life until it basically is embedded into you, and then you cannot escape the programming that has been put onto you, and that's it. You're in there. And very, very,
Yep.
very, very, very few people ever leave the order. It is not a regular thing for people to like kick out. In fact, it's so rare that when Dooku does it, it actually causes talk amongst people that are not even in the Order. People outside of the Jedi Order know Dooku by name. Oh, I actually think Dooku, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, Dooku was a Jedi, you are aware of this. We saw to his training, basically. They basically put it out there like, it's not in his character. He can't do those things because we made sure of it. Like, that's kind of what they do. And they're wrong, but it's very interesting to know that, like, it's so rare for people to deconstruct out of it that once you're in, you're in. And you don't really have much of a choice. Like it's the highest form of indoctrination because you don't have an out. There's no outside influence that you can talk to or compare your life to or anything. You're just basically taken at 3, plopped into a new life, and the new life is completely surrounded by only the people in that life. Like,
Yep.
like you don't have like, you're not like going to work or public school or some shit where you see other people's lives and kind of figure out where you find normalcy. Because maybe your life isn't normal, but you didn't know it till you got around a bunch of other people that this was normal for them, not normal for you. You get what I'm saying? You never have that outside influence. They teach you, they feed you, they clothe you, they train you. Everything is done right there, and you have zero outside world contact until they feel they've prepared you for it. It is indoctrination. There's no way around it. The Jedis indoctrinate their followers, which is why when Luke shows up at like 20 years old, a little young kid, they're like, it's too old.
Yep.
Too old for this shit. Heck, when Anakin showed up at 8 or whatever, he's like 8 or 10, they were like, nope, no way. Way too old. He's had a mom. Get him out of here. I don't want shit to do with that kid.
Yep.
It is indoctrination. There's no way around it. That's what they're doing.
Yep.
Donald says, this channel is capable of 1 million subscribers. You just have to put the work in, edit, retitle, categorize. It would be awesome.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It would be awesome. And I don't like to sit there and like be like, oh, we're so great. I really don't like to do that. But like, I have watched other podcasts that I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm falling asleep. Like, and it's topics that I like, but it doesn't feel like it has a soul or passion. It feels like they're just like doing it to do. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Or maybe their presence isn't very strong. I've seen hundreds that are absolutely fantastic, so don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying we're like some outstanding thing, but it does surprise me sometimes that the channel never really. I mean, it's how you compare it to. We did take off. We got 2.44 subscribers, 2.44K subs. That's not small sub count, in all honesty.
Right.
It sounds like it, but I'm in the toy tuber circles. I talk to guys who get thousands of views on their videos and only manage like 1.49K subs. That's it. Like, that's it. Like, and they're guys that are big. They're guys that are known. They're guys that literally get thousands of views per video, and they're at like 1.94 or something like that. So we actually beat them. And that's the reason it surprises me, because we did kind of take off. But I also think we shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. I'll be honest.
Couple times.
We never decided to... Well, because, okay, so we veered off from what we were doing. We never should have left this. Like, this is what we're comfortable doing. We're a podcast that talks topics with people.
Yep.
We really probably should have never diverted as hard as we did, but we did. And then it probably would have helped us. The algorithm would have sent us to the sky had we monetized. We never monetized. We are a word of mouth channel. The only reason anybody ever finds us is because somebody told somebody, or somehow by magic, and it is straight up magic, the algorithm fed you one video that for whatever reason you finally clicked on, sat in here for a half an hour, and then finally went, oh crap, I think I might actually like this. I think I've laughed.
They're sitting around. Yeah, they're sitting around. They actually carried on a conversation. They weren't, just checked out and just mumbling, hey, by the way, check out our sponsor today. It's and make sure you use promo code.
Dude, I've seen those podcasts, and they got like 10.9K subs.
So back to the topic at hand. Today we're going to be sitting around and we're going to be talking about Star Wars. I think I really like Star Wars. Like, I enjoyed the movies, but where the fuck's the passion? Where's the love?
Dude,
You're not a fucking fanboy. You're a corporate drone. Sit down, shut up.
I've watched a couple of those podcasts, and it blows my mind. Like I said, I don't try to work us up like that, but like I've I've clicked on podcasts where I'm like, oh, sweet, they're going to talk about this. And I'm like a half an hour in, and I'm ready to fall asleep. I could have used it as background sound for my nap. And I'm like, how do you have 10.9K? Like, what is happening? But we never pushed in the algorithm. Those guys have sponsors. They have like link codes, and they have the algorithm pushing them because the pushing them actually makes YouTube money because they're monetized. So like we never did that, and it does actually hold you back. If I monetize this channel tomorrow, if I pushed the button today and we were monetized by next week, the count would go up overnight because YouTube would start pushing the channel. Yeah, it would push the channel. We are a word of mouth channel, so we only grow as slow as we do. And just a peek behind the curtain, ever since I did start restructuring, just a small thing, we started restructuring, we started posting, we started coming in and doing these again, we've gained 18 subs. It doesn't sound like much, but also understand something. For 6 months, for about 6 or 7 months, we had 0 channel growth at all. We were locked, absolutely deadlocked where we were. We did not get new subscribers. We did not lose subscribers. We got nothing. We were completely dead. The channel was shadow banned. It was blacklisted. It was invisible. It did not exist. All of a sudden...
Unless you knew what to look for.
Yep. All of a sudden, I'm retagging, restructuring, and we're doing these videos. And we gained 18 subs this month. So, I mean, it is making a difference, the retooling. It's just going to take real time. On getting them when they're young, that's exactly how the Jedi typically worked in their prime. Yeah, it's exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's saying a lot of it right there, too, yes.
Yep.
Oh, no. Yes! There. Fixed it. Sometimes this bar locks up, the one where I can see everything that the feed is, and I have to like click on something in order to get the bar to like reestablish or reload. Let's see. Which Star Wars planet would you realistically want to live on? Oh, I have no clue really. Some thought may be necessary. Some nice planets can be very similar. Alderaan, Takadana, Naboo, etc. You know, I like the look of Naboo. I do. I like the look of Naboo. And maybe it's just, this is all regional too, I'm sure, because what we got to see of it, we didn't get to see the Arctic areas of it, or or the poverty-stricken zones of Naboo. I'm sure they exist, but like just looking at it, it looks like a place that would be like almost a dream to live in. Like you would literally wake up in the morning, and as you go to work, you could take a random photograph and then make a postcard and sell it. Like, and it would sell. People would be like, oh my God, where's this from? Oh, that's just when I walk to work. I guess just took a random picture. But it's a postcard now, and I get money every time somebody wants to send one. Like, it just looks like that kind of place. But I'm sure, because I live in a real world, I'm sure that place that I'm seeing is not for me. I'm probably working in a warehouse. I'm probably deep city. I'm barely at the lowest point of middle class. You get you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's where I live, but it would be nice.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, aside from the fact that there's apparently 800,000 Rancor just breeding on the planet, I would say that what is it, like that beach planet from the end of KOTOR 1? Where you show up.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because it's like you land on the beach and everything. It's like, oh, this place is beautiful. Let's move on. Let's see what's actually here. There's just like 30,000 Rancor running around outside of this Jedi temple. Well, fuck me. I think I'm gonna stay down here on the beach. As long as they stay up on the hill,
Right, as long as they
we'll
stay
be
up
all
on the
right.
hill. That's like I kind of laugh at like living in a Final Fantasy universe. Your town is here. It's right here. This is
Mm,
your little bitty town. It's got no walls. There's nothing stopping anything. There's nothing in the way. There's no turrets or awesome hunters or anything like that that could walk out and do anything about it. And on the hill right there is just a gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex. He just lives there.
yep.
He literally like can look. You can wake up in the morning, stretch, look out your window, and be like, "Oh fuck, that Tyrannosaurus is over there. Guess I'll walk this way to work today." Like,
Yeah.
because if I get too close to him, he's gonna like just wander into town and kill me. Because I'm sorry, I aggravated him. Like,
Shit, I was about to say. You live in a Final Fantasy universe. All right, guys, I gotta go to work. I need to go outside to cut some trees down. Oh fuck, there's like 8 foot tall tarantulas. When did I move to Australia?
even the simple ones. If you think about it, you live in Little
Fuck, there's a
Kingdom
hawk
Place.
trying to kill me.
You live in Little Kingdom Place. It's a medieval time. You go to like cut down some wood and whatnot. Maybe that's your job. Maybe you get firewood every night. You go and collect brush.
Right.
All of a sudden you're ransacked, literally tackled by 9 imps. You're just some
Yeah.
guy with a hatchet. Like, you're done. There's no
Yeah.
chance ever. Like, how many normal dudes just die in Final Fantasy? Like,
Oh shit, there's 3 wolves. What am I gonna do?
in fact, the only game I've ever seen that gives you any context to how those people like live is Octopath Traveler, because there's the guy that you can challenge people, you know what I'm talking about? You can duel them.
Yeah.
And like you'll come across random dude, like literally he's just random dude. He's like, "Yeah, I run the shop." And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to fight you." And he's like, "Well, I'm level 39." I'm like, "Oh,
Well, shit,
oh
I'm
shit."
sorry.
And then you go into a fight with him, and you're like, "Well, I'm a warrior, and I've trained my whole life to fight." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of my store!" And you're like, "I'm sorry, sir. I'll be leaving now." Like, you don't stand a
Right.
chance. Like, that's just some guy. So that at least gives you a context to how these people could like live there. But you don't
Right.
see that in a lot of Final Fantasies. It doesn't look like they live like that. I think I found you, Bill, thanks to a video about the 90s X-Men DVDs. That or Henshin Morph or Kamen Rider, I don't know. And that's exactly right. People
Yeah.
find us incredibly randomly. And
Right.
maybe you click on it. We've never been huge on like going out of our way. Until recently, we've never like went out of our way to like make real thumbnails or anything like that. It was just
Yeah.
we were just doing something we wanted to do. That's really that's another thing that kind of held the channel back necessarily. And not that it's a bad thing, but we just like, this is like the hobby that we do. Like, we get
Yeah.
together, we talk, and we were doing this before the channel. And then one day we were like,
Yeah.
what if we like recorded hanging out and talking about dumb shit that nobody cares
Yep.
about? And then we ended up here.
Yeah. For the last
Chicken Boy
13
says,
years, I think.
the extended universe that Disney threw in the trash is one of the greatest tragedies in all of fandom history. I understand. I do understand. I get it. 100%. I get it. But, big old hairy ass.
Quit talking about me.
If
What did I tell you about that?
if you were handed the reins to something like this, a retcon or reboot is easier to establish a forward canon than trying to adapt every single little thing that was ever written by any man that ever lived, that ever held a pen, that ever held an opinion. And this is part of the reason comic books are hard to get into. And we got to admit something to ourselves. Star Wars, by itself, is like comic books. Like, here's the thing about the extended universe, and it is a real thing. This is not meant to insult you, it's not meant to attack you. Realistically, I say something. I like this. Simple. I like this. It's one of my favorite things. I absolutely love this in Star Wars. And immediately, an extended universe knowledgeable master will come in and be like, but this. Well, okay, I don't know anything about that. I've watched the movies. I didn't watch the movies, read the books, play the video games, read all the novelizations, because like they'll do that. You'll say this part in the movie, blah blah blah, and they'll be like, well, actually, in the novelization written specifically by this guy in the second adaptation, and I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And then they'll explain something to you that was explained in a book that was then like conceptualized in a comic book that was then like adapted from a video game. And if we are talking fandom, this is very simple. If we are talking fandom and the conversation halts because, well, actually, in order to understand this thing that you're trying to understand, you need to leave here and do 2 years worth of homework. You need to read these 6 books and read this entire comic book run by so-and-so guy. And that also was correlated into this video game that you need to play, which is hard as shit to even get a hold of. And even if you do get a hold of it, it's also hard to beat. But if you do all of that, you'll be on my level, and now we can talk about fandom. We're done.
Yep.
Like, we're done. And Disney was trying to, and I'm not 100% defending them here, but Disney was trying to prevent that. What they decided was, we own Star Wars. If we want everybody on board at the same level, everybody has seen 6 movies. And if they haven't, there's 6 movies. Go watch them. You're done. You could do it in 2 weekends. Bam. 1 weekend if you're crazy. Heck, Jeremy did it in a day.
Yeah.
He woke up 7 a.m., put the first movie in, and watched everything. He'd never seen Star Wars in his entire life. He just kicked through the whole thing. You could do that. If Disney said, we're going to run this next series that we're going to do, this special movie, it's going to be built on this comic book run that happened, blah, 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 Clone Wars, this and that, yada, yada. Can you even get those books? What would it cost to get those books? How much of a pain is it to hunt the books down? When you finally do get them, will it do you any favors to have read all of this, which then may also have continuity inside this comic book in general that doesn't necessarily match up? And then when you finish all of that and you watch the movies and read those comic books and already have questions about how the continuity is holding up between these two things, then I stack something else on top of it and go, now that you've done your homework, now you can watch this new movie. That's what's hurting. That's what's hurting Marvel right now. Marvel is being hurt right now because it got too big for its own breaches.
Yep.
And it's not that we don't expect it. It's not that we don't love it. We love expanded content. It's true. We love to see the video games continue and the things to get more analogies and for characters to go on and see what happened next. It's not that we don't love that stuff, but we have to be honest that at some point it gets so big that new people can't be a part of it. They can't. Like, I know we are, but we're a certain kind of people. And realistically, we're a certain kind of people that are a small demographic of people that can't possibly support the financial institution it would take to keep a series like this running. So Disney did make a business decision. They cut everything and said, if you've seen 6 movies, you're ready for what we're about to give you. Because nothing else is here. So here's 3 more movies. Here's a special sub-movie. Here's another special sub-movie. Now here's your series. And now Disney has already put us in the same kind of situation. Like, Shane, have you watched The Bad Batch?
Some of it.
Oh, okay. So you did watch all of Clone Wars.
Some of it.
Oh, some? No, no, no. See, they
Nope.
start in the Clone Wars, so I'm going to need you to go back, because we're going to talk on fucking real fan shit here, real fan levels. I'm
Yep.
going to need you to go and watch all of the Clone Wars, then all of the Bad Batch, then I'm going to need you to watch all of the Mandalorian, because we're going to compare the similarities between the ideals. Now we're ready to talk to one another. Oh, and I also
No,
might need
not
you to
yet. You
dig into
forgot
Rebels
two
a
other
little
shows.
bit too. I might need you
Yeah.
to dig into Rebels a little bit too, because there is some context there. So you do your homework. I'll be waiting here to talk with you.
Yep.
Go! Like,
Yeah.
that's the kind
It's
of
exactly-
situation we put ourselves in when we have too much expanded content.
Yeah, it's exactly like Bill was saying over off of his live stream either last night or the night before when somebody brought up, "Oh, did you see the Deadpool versus Wolverine trailer?" And Bill literally goes, this might be a good thing because Deadpool will have the ability to go, "Hey, Marvel, look at yourself. You've been doing this fucking shit since goddamn Thor Dark World, where he had like 6 fucking cameos from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that walked in with no fucking explanation. So if you missed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., guess what? You have no idea why this is so fucking impactful. This is happening in this movie. Hey, did you watch WandaVision? Nope. Well, Doctor Strange makes no fucking sense to you. Like, it's the same shit.
I mean, let's be honest. When we jumped into, I did not watch WandaVision, but I did go watch the movie because I was watching movies. That's what I was interested in. But the movie required homework. They were like, "Hey, Doctor Strange movie," and I was like, "Let's go. I'm in." And I get there and I'm like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, why is she a bitch? What is happening? Why is she a bad guy? Why is the multiverse involved? Why is shit falling apart? Hexes! Like, just... And I had zero context as to what was going on, except for... I used to have kids? When? I was married? What the fuck are you talking about? You took my life from me? I didn't do shit! Like, I missed an entire story arc because I wasn't watching series. I wasn't doing homework to watch movies. I shouldn't have. If your movie cannot stand on its own, period. This is a rule for all movies, and it doesn't matter what your hardcore fan opinion is. This is the bare bones basic truth of all movies that have ever been made in the history of all movies and will ever be made in the history of all movies to come. If your movie cannot stand on its own as a cinematic ideal, as a cinematic presentation, it is a bad movie. Period. Yep. You can like it. I like bad movies. I watch Spawn.
Damn right.
But it doesn't change the fact that if I have to do homework, if I have to watch an entire sub-series to watch your movie, to be able to understand the movie that I'm watching, to get whatever I need out of that movie, it's a bad movie. Period.
Yep.
Now, I can like it because I have all this subtext and I've watched all the stuff before it, and then I can go in and be like, this is amazing. I love how they did everything just for me because I'm a super fan. That's great. It means that I'll get a lot out of it, and it probably is one of my favorite movies to have ever been produced. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the common movies that survive the test of time, that become classics, if you need homework, your movie will never be a classic. It will not make it on its own. It doesn't have the credibility.
Shit, let me bring it to something else. In comic books, because Spawn is one of my favorites, for years and years and years and years.
I'm
even
buying
when
Angela,
my ass
by the
was,
way.
I don't blame you.
No,
but yeah,
they have a Marvel Legends of her because she fell into Marvel for a while, and I found her. I'm getting her.
Yeah, that's because they pulled her in and said that she was originally an Asgardian, and then they ended up... Either way.
Yep, I know. By the way, fan shit. Do you see what just happened?
Yeah, exactly. But yes, so... like I said, it comes down to one of those things where for years, even when I was quite literally homeless, I'm going to put that in quotes, because I fucking moved out of my house because my mom and I got into a fight when I was goddamn 17 and I moved in with Bill and his girlfriend at the time. Had no fucking money to my name. Me and Bill went out to the fucking mall. We walked into the bookstore, and I said, "Oh shit, Spawn Essentials #3. I need that." And he says, "Dude, you have no money." And I said, "I got just enough for this." He goes, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Shut up."
That's fucking awesome. You have no money. Oh no, I have just enough for this.
But yeah, so I was buying the Essentials books, and I was fucking reading those because, of course, it's a collection. Because McFarlane is good about the Essentials actually being like issues 1 to 20, and then 21 to 40 kind of shit.
Right.
And if you're reading the fucking comic books, just flip it through it, and it goes, "Oh, Spawn, I'm so glad I found you here. I thought you were over in, like, New Jersey. Asterisk. See issue 147 of Jim Bob McBob's Shotgun Factory." And you're like, what the fuck?
What the?
They've been doing that shit in comic books for a fucking 1.5 million goddamn years.
So,
But if the story is good, you could skip missing out on that fucking book, continue reading the book that you're fucking reading, and you don't need to know all the intricate details about how Jim Bob's Shotgun Factory exploded
so you're saying
and
that
people thought somebody died.
Jim
So you're-
Bob's Shotgun Factory.
so you're saying that the Spawn comics are now in Essentials to make it easier for fans to read them all.
I mean, considering the fact that the book originally came out in the fucking 90s,
Right.
and I think because I think I've got volumes 1 through 7, and then randomly, like 4 years ago, we're out at like Acme Comics for whatever reason, and I saw that they had one of like the like a specific story arc in graphic novel form, and I picked it up, and it literally says, "This starts in Spawn issue 1020. Are you sure that's where you want to be?" And I said, "Fuck it, I don't give a shit.
Well, it's always
I like
nice.
Spawn. I'm gonna read it." And it literally was like, "Oh, by the way, Spawn has died like 6 times now. He even went to heaven, found out that he was actually a sleeper agent for God, but God wiped his memory.
Yep,
and
I
said,
remember
now
that.
you get to go to hell, and because you get to go to fucking hell and say yes to Malbolgia, and I'll make sure that you're safe no matter fucking what, even though when the fuck is Al Simmons ever safe? Let's be honest here."
I like that. I like when they do that. They put all those like comics and stuff into like those big collections and make it so much
Right.
easier.
That's the only way I buy them now.
Now,
Right.
now, all McFarlane has to do is just make Spawn good, and then
Dang!
Damn.
Dang! He's shooting shots
Yeah,
from
I know
the
he is.
shotgun.
Although,
No.
to be fair, the only
No.
thing McFarlane needs to do is he needs to get up off of his ass and actually work on that, Sam and Twitch fucking show that he was supposed to have done 12 fucking years ago when
No.
Kevin Smith was talking how he was going to be fucking directing it.
It's in Hollywood
Back when
time.
they said it was going to be, yeah, exactly. Hollywood time? Fuck, they're on Greg time. Fuck are you on about?
No.
Fuck, we'll see it in the next 30 goddamn years after, Jamie Foxx, who was supposed to be the new Al Simmons, is dead and buried.
Now listen, I actually just said that to get a rise out of Seth. I like doing that. I don't have a problem with Spawn. The movie sucks ass, and I will never back down from
And
it.
we
I-
all
the
agree
movie
on
is
that.
so
the
good.
movie, the
The
movie's
movie
fucking
is so
trash.
good. I don't give a
Fucking
shit.
trash.
It's glorious trash. Okay, I will
Yes.
watch that trash all day, every day. I don't give a shit.
But other than that movie,
Johnny
I know-
Legs.
Listen, man.
No, I
What?
will agree with Ronan. Now all McFarlane has to do is make good DC figures that aren't just Batman.
Oh my god,
And that's how you get a rise out of Bill.
dude, he doesn't even know. So your comment now all McFarlane has to do is make good DC figures that aren't just Batman. He ain't even doing Batman.
Uh-huh.
He ain't even doing Batman, Ronan. I got a video coming. I bought one. And it's bad. Like, it's a bad Batman. Like, it kind of, like, the longer I sat with it, it started to piss me off. Like, at first during my video, I was like, I mean, yeah, okay, he's cool, he's fine, he's Batman, it's fucking working for me. And then I was like, what is up with the cape? Like, why? What the fuck is the cape made out of? And then I'm like messing with it, and I'm like, I don't think this is this the same crappy material he used on the superpower line? Because everybody hates these capes. And I'm like, is this wire? Like, did he have to buy the cheapest wire you could ever buy ever? I'm like, then I like checked the price of it, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, these aren't even $20 figures anymore. You charged me $25 for this guy because of materials, because you added a cape with a wire in it. And I'm telling you right now that when I get General M. Bison, when I get him from Jada Toys, he's going to have a wire cape that's going to be fantastic. And you're going to be, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed. And then, as if I wasn't having enough problems with him, I get to his head. And I'm like, why can't he look up? What? Look up, Batman. Look up. Batman, stop brooding. Like, his head, they built the figure so his head is stuck in a permanent, and he can't look up. His neck joint stops. His neck stops right here, but the joint is up there. So if you lift his head up, he's just got like a hole right here, so that I guess like he could put that little thing there and be like, Batman. Like, it's unreasonable.
Cheeseburger, large
Listen,
fry.
All
Don't
they
make
did,
fun of me. I'm not making fun of you, asshole.
all they did was make a legitimate, like, to a T Batman. Batman is always brooding. What does he have to look up for? He won't look up until all crime and justice has been served.
I guess.
No, the reason why he can't move his head is because it was based off the first fucking
Movie?
Bale Batman movie, where literally Batman could not turn his neck. He was stuck like this, and when he wanted to look at you, he physically had to fucking turn his body to fucking look at you.
That was Michael Keaton. That was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton can't. Yeah, he has to.
Michael Keaton had to turn his body to look because he.
But they actually
Keaton had to do it too.
Yeah, they actually make fun of it in the Christian Bale movies. They specifically bring it up in the second movie. He says, "Oh, you want to be able to turn your head," and that's why they're doing that. Is because his costume also had problems.
Yep. Jake, your last two comments. What about the Spawn cartoon? The HBO cartoon is fan-fucking-tastic.
So
it is gold star perfect. We don't make fun of it. But dogs can't look up. Yes, we know. Just like there's a shotgun behind the bar.
What?
We know.
Where did that start? That dogs can't look up. My dog looks
Shaun
up.
of the Dead.
Yeah, I know that, but like, where did they get that? Like,
yeah, because
I remember hearing that and being like, I have dogs. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like,
Man, I've seen a dog look up a tree. He has to look up
he has to look up. Yeah, I never knew where that came from.
No,
It says dogs can't look up.
Yeah.
No, man, you almost.
Yeah, and he also says there's a shotgun behind the bar, but fucking, I ain't seen him ever use it.
Dude,
Hey, look, here's a shotgun behind the bar. Okay, fine, but dogs can look up.
I'm about to say, dude, you had me fucked up. I stopped for a second and really thought about it. Like, wait a minute, can they not? Then I'm thinking, no, I watch Bill's dogs look up all the time.
Right, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, absolutely wild.
Oh my god, dude, you got me fucked up.
Figures wise, like McFarlane, I'm very hit and miss with McFarlane. Like, McFarlane Toys drives me crazy because I'm willing to forgive a lot at a $20 price point. Like, a lot. There's a lot that I will forgive on a $20 figure. Like, it just needs to be good. But then I would also argue this is a $20 figure, and that Mega Man is unbelievable. And so, like, yeah. But anyways, there's a lot that I'm willing to forgive in a $20 figure.
Been better if it was Proto Man.
But I think I dislike almost every Superman he's made, except for Superman issue 1000, which is now like a 90s, like anywhere from $70 to $90 figure. It's very hard to get.
Get on it. Don't you want it?
I mean, all you got to do is work OT for the next like 3 months. You'll get it.
I will be. I'll be on OT.
Yep.
Then you can have your Superman 1000.
I plan eventually to get him. If I want it's either I'm going to do that or I'm going to buy the Mafex Hush Superman. I want a solid Superman for the shelf, and those are the two that kind of catch my attention. But Mafex is real money as well. So, and at that point, you argue the McFarlane figure was originally a $20 figure, so why not just if I'm going to pay $90, just buy the Mafex anyway? I don't know. But then I don't want my Superman to be small. That sounds like a weird argument, but Mafex tends to run all of their figures on the scaling a little smaller. And I don't want Superman on the shelf to be, like, small. That bothers me as well, so I don't know.
I mean, you could have, unfortunately, the figures are a little small, but you can get more bang for your buck if you just go out and buy the Justice League pack that comes with, like, 4 or 5 of them.
I mean, if you want, when I go to pick up my wife, the store that she works at, I showed you those pictures. They got a bunch of shit on clearance.
Don't want those damn
I can
things.
see if there's a super guy behind that Aquaman.
Nope, there's no way. And if they do, it's that other one that I don't want. It says the MCU has lost steam after the Infinity Saga. I've lost interest at this point. And I think I talked a lot about this on my show, so I won't necessarily reiterate it, but I think that Marvel stopped doing what they were doing. Marvel very much understood the idea that I argued. When you make a movie, it has to stand on its own right here. Where we're going in the long term of like 20 movies is fine. We'll get there. But this has to work. Now they're no longer doing that. Their goal is to get here. And this movie right here is a stepping stone to that. These characters, ideals, presentation, development, story, they don't mean shit. All that we're concerned about is that we get to the next event. We're kind of playing comic books, which is ironic because they're comic book movies, and comic books do that. The single issues where you used to develop and do storylines for characters and then do big events with crossovers, now they get like every single month there's a big event. In comics, something is going down and it's going to affect the entirety of the universe or whatever. And so, like, none of these characters have a chance to breathe and develop. But I have a feeling that the next couple movie projects that have been announced, I feel like Marvel's going to slow down. I really do. I have this feeling that Marvel realizes what it's doing and it's going to slow itself down and it's going to start character focusing again. I have a feeling we're about to do that.
Well, when you look
to be fair, I think they already have to do that anyway because they've been rushing for Kang and rushing for Kang and rushing for Kang. And if memory serves, the dude who's playing Kang the Conqueror,
he's in trouble.
I believe he's a piece of shit in real life.
They've already got rid of him.
So.
They've already said they will not. And that's a shame, too, because I think he's also the same guy that played in Creed, right? The third Creed movie. And I don't like to think that... Hopefully it doesn't affect me when I watch that movie next. Knowing, you know what I mean?
But
let's see. Sorry, go ahead. What are you about to do?
But the MCU, I think, is slowing down a little bit because you know how they were pushing out shows on Disney Plus. Well, if you think this year alone, I think the only MCU thing coming out is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
So you only got one
movie. It is important to slow down. I really do think. I think they're slowing down on purpose. I think they're starting to character focus again.
Because I don't think there's any... I have to look it up because I think Daredevil is supposed to come out this year. If you're talking movies, it's just Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
But if you're talking series, dude, I honestly don't... Like... I don't know if any other series is coming out.
I'm playing such hardcore catch-up with all this crap, too.
It's hard.
We have, so...
It doesn't help that...
This person I've never seen, at least I'm not referencing... I think we got a new watcher, Jared 1K, or maybe he just doesn't comment very often, because it's escaping me. There's a lot of names that I recognize. We've got a lot of people that have become, like, very regular posters or anything like that, but, how do you all feel about Tom's new Spidey suit? Guys, that's a 5 for me right now.
I haven't seen it.
Are you talking about the final swing? Because the final swing suit, I'm really looking forward to that. Like that looks like hopefully the most screen accurate Spider-Man costume we have ever seen. Because the closest we've ever come to a perfect Spider-Man costume was Andrew Garfield, second movie. His costume was very, very close to being spot on. And I'm really, really, really hoping that we have that final swing, because that's amazing. That Spider-Man costume. You saw the final swing. I know you did.
I'm looking it up now just to give myself a.
I mean, I'm looking to see what all's coming out. As far as I can tell, yeah, it looks like Deadpool and Wolverine is the only actual movie. But in terms of the shows, other than Echo, which already came out and was fan-fucking-tastic,
Yeah, I forgot about Echo.
they're talking Agatha, Eyes of Wakanda, and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man are like the next three shows that are supposed to be. They're listed as to be announced, but they're supposed to be out sometime this year.
So look up final swing suit, and you'll see what it is. And there's already people that are doing like full things for it and everything. And it even kind of appeared. I think it's a downloadable suit or an unlockable suit in Spider-Man 2 in the game. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it is.
Right.
And
I have to check.
It looks fantastic, man. It is easily, that suit looks unreal. If they're not pulling people's tails here, if this is what the suit is going to look like, it's going to be unreal. Like it looks like the most screen accurate. It's kind of shiny. You could argue that that's a problem.
Okay.
But
if that's what it is, and that I'm looking at it. It does look a little metallic.
But I would also say that by the time we see the suit, they may mute it a little bit, or maybe the idea is not to mute it specifically because we are trying to add colors back into the MCU. Because for a while there, we have been playing games where the MCU has gotten like more muted. That's the only way I can put it, where a lot of the things that were really pushing the MCU and a lot of people that what they were liking was the MCU was not afraid to be like, okay, so what's going on with him? Is he wears what? Okay, sure, why not? Like, they're like, how blue is he? Captain America what? Okay, so we'll do the World War I movie, but we do need that suit. You know what? That suit was made for stage appearances for the kids show and yada yada. And then later, they were just like, hey, so Captain America, he's now going to be in the Avengers movie, and they were like, okay, here. Like, just give it to him. Give him the ridiculously blue, like, super suit. Like, they were willing to play games like Iron Man. Can you imagine if Iron Man had been done in the 90s? He wouldn't have been red and yellow. He wouldn't have been like red, gold, yellow, things like. There's no way. I'm telling you. He would have been like blacks and grays and gunmetal and like
like what War Machine is.
Right. That's exactly what he would have been.
Yeah. He would have been essentially what a rogue in D&D is. I'm dark and brooding, and my backstory is tragic and horrible because it's the fucking 90s.
Right.
Like,
well, I'm looking at.
We were afraid of superheroes in the 90s. Like, the X-Men were the closest things to being legit superhero movies of the time, and like they were basically afraid of it. They were like, okay, no, we're not doing those costumes. Draw it back. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a leather fiend. Like, and it's not that I don't necessarily understand it, but you see what I'm getting at. But like, so here we are at this point. And you got to hand it to something like Spider-Man that came out in the 90s when we were growing up in the 2000s, you know what I'm talking about, where they were just like, he's Spider-Man, he's red and blue. Because there are tests where they were considering for a while that they were going to do like the full black costume right off the bat. They didn't, but then it was argued, no, if we're going to do this, and we were lucky we got Sam Raimi from what I understand.
Right.
Well, I'm looking at this final swing suit right now, and
Right, and the
I,
final
I
swing suit, literally the only thing it's missing is the fucking web wing armpits, and it would literally be fucking everybody's favorite Spider-Man issue, where
I
he's
would
fucking
probably
swinging down with the dude in his arm from like I believe it's issue 15, I think.
well, I agree with that dude.
That
Then
fucking comic cover.
I'd probably give it a 5 too.
He says
It's a
he says the art book for the movie dropped and it has some designs that look like the one in the movie, but with more comic inspired logos and eye shapes. And that's fantastic. I haven't got to see that yet, but like this costume, from what I've seen of it, both figure wise and from the movie and from sort of like Reddit and whatnot, where I've caught a thing here and there, it looks solid. This looks like the coolest suit, man. And maybe it's just because I'm really ready for Spider-Man to be what he's supposed to be.
Right.
I'm done with Uncle Tony Stark.
everybody loves Uncle Tony
I never
Stark.
wanted Uncle Tony Stark to begin with. Ever.
So what you're saying is you don't like when Spider-Man is sitting on Mockingbird's couch crying.
I'm better with that. I don't like Spider-Man to be a side character in his own movie.
Right. No, I remember this rant. We'll just say
Yep.
Fandom with Reploid Bill.
Yeah.
Go listen to the rant.
I did. I talked about this in the live stream, Fandom with Reploid Bill. I do them every Friday. I talk about all kinds of stuff. And we already talked about a lot of Spider-Man stuff and Fantastic Four stuff in there because
Yep.
I don't like Spider-Man to be a side character in his own movie. I don't like it. I don't want it.
So should the movie have been called Iron Man Coming Home featuring Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that if you remove all parts, if you remove all essence of Tony Stark from the movie, the Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie, the standalone that Marvel got, if you remove all of Tony Stark's stuff, all of it, you lose half the movie.
Yep.
And
Minimum.
the plot is not strong enough to get you where it needs you to go without Tony Stark, because they didn't write a movie for Spider-Man. They wrote a movie for Tony Stark featuring Spider-Man. Even when Tony is not there, he's there.
Yep.
He's in the suit. He designed it. The Tony Stark comedy element from the stupid little computer thing that talks to him, like every other part of that movie is saturated with Tony Stark, not Spider-Man. It's not a Spider-Man movie. It's Tony Spark, Tony Spark,
Tony Stark.
Tony Stank,
Tony Stank.
featuring Spider-Man.
Yep. Yeah. Should have been Iron Man 4, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right. Ugh. It drives me crazy.
Spider-Man.
And I like that
Uncle
movie.
Tony.
I almost hate that I
Right.
like that movie because I like that movie. I watch that movie right now and I would enjoy it. And then when I was done enjoying it, I'd be like, Tony Stark. I would, man.
But he is Iron Man.
Sure he is. Whatever.
He died to protect you.
Sure he did.
Uh-huh.
What else
You know
got?
who else died, Shane?
What's up?
You know who else died, Shane?
Black Widow.
I was going to say a lot of other motherfuckers, because since I ended up getting the free trial for Amazon Prime, my ass has been catching up on stuff after I finished Fallout. So, Invincible, and especially right now I'm in the middle of Season 3 of The Boys, and a lot of motherfuckers have died. So, Tony Stark being snap and dead doesn't mean much to me right now.
I'll see.
Well, that movie came out like 5 years ago, so the impact has also died down.
No, I'm pretty sure I could put it in and I'd still fucking Kevin Smith open, weep, cry like a little baby, like I've been doing lately. But
Maybe.
Shane, I bought Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is good.
Yeah, I bought one.
It's a good show.
I didn't buy it for Stranger Things though.
No, you bought it for something else, probably.
You're right. Damn right I did.
I don't believe you're a Stranger Things fan.
You're absolutely right. I'm not. I haven't seen it yet. I saw 2 episodes with my wife, and what I saw, I liked.
oh,
That's all
good.
I could say. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I just haven't watched it. When my mom was staying here for a couple of weeks, I was working overtime, and I would come home and they were watching it. So I didn't want to start in the middle. So I saw
Right.
2 episodes, kind of liked what I saw, and then never really sat down to watch it myself. So my wife likes it a lot.
Well, good news for you is that the final part is coming out, I think.
and the good news for me is, sounds like Shane has a password I could steal and get his account deleted.
I can just watch the whole thing in a single run, which I'm fine with that. That'll be more than
Oh.
fine with me.
I've seen everything. It's just when the new shit comes out, just like Cobra Kai. Yeah, no, I not sure if I'm gonna have enough money for, $45 Netflix subscription or whatever the fuck they jumped the price to.
I don't know what it's up to right now. My wife pays that one. It's a nightmare. We split our subscription services, and I feel like we're
I believe-
always. It feels like
I bel-
cable again.
I believe
Right.
it's $20 a month for to have the 4K stuff, and then it goes down depending on what you want.
Well, 4K is probably well. I might not. I would definitely end up needing the.
Can you had to zoom?
Yeah,
You had to
the
bring that a
Ultra
little, you had to
HD.
bring that a little closer.
Nope, because now I got the screen and it.
Yeah.
Can't reflect.
Well, I can see what the creature is, but is it one of the? Oh my god!
You shut up, Shane. It's fantastic.
Not everything needs a goddamn crossover.
Yes, it does. This
Yes,
is
it does.
amazing, and I love everything about it, Shane.
Shane,
Shane.
you are super hyped for a movie that's a goddamn crossover.
His weapon is 2 D20s, like giant D20s on a staff that are shooting lightning and fire everywhere.
Yes, you are right. I am excited because I'm a Wolverine fan. But if this was just a standalone Deadpool movie, I'd still go see it and be excited about it too.
Same.
Dumb face.
So I mean, the crossovers work, but I think there's certain crossovers that just don't work.
Oh,
And
you
what?
mean like the crossover of Bill's outro to all of his videos on Fandom with Reploid Bill still being the old outro from ours taken over? I
Yeah.
have spoken, take what you will from it.
Yeah, it's
Where
a little.
Bill just needs to change it to being a montage of hell yeah.
But I don't. Stranger Things and Masters of the Universe just doesn't seem like a crossover that, to me, works.
And yet, it's awesome. To be fair, they also did a Stranger Things. They did Stranger Things and Ninja Turtles, Stranger
Yes, they did.
Things and what was it? Motu. I know Stranger Things crossed over with something else recently, and Power Rangers crossed over with Cobra Kai.
I know.
So you can get
Yeah.
all the Cobra Kai kids in different Ranger ninja suits.
Yep.
Cobra Kai also crossed over with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there's
can
sets
see it.
like where Leonardo comes in, and then it's like Leo and one of the Cobra Kai kids, but I'm not 100% sure who's in each pack or whatever because I didn't buy any of them. G.I. Joe is currently crossing
Probably
over
Miguel.
with Transformers. So
Yeah, but that's also because aren't they doing the movies? That's
I know there's something
technically more
in
movie
the
shit.
works. Something's in the works about, but I don't claim to know. But yeah, that's a new thing. So and they're like older toys too. So they went back to like the O-rings. So they're releasing more older style GI Joes that like I grew up with.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
I don't
fair.
care for GI Joe. Sorry, I don't care for Transformers. So I'm not gonna buy any of them. But I see that they're a thing.
Except for that fucking one that you saw last night.
Dude, since you
The one last night where it's like a
Dude.
fucking $200 statue and you push the button and it automatically transforms back and forth for you.
Dude, that's a $1,600 to
Or
$1,700
that's what it was.
toy.
that's
Yeah.
that's
You
ridiculous.
saw that and you're like, God damn, that's
Yeah.
cool. I ain't
Dude.
dropping that money, but that's
Yeah.
fucking cool.
I ain't about
But
to
dude-
buy it, but I can't deny the fact that it's amazing.
But Bill, since we brought it up earlier, did you see the trailer for Cobra Kai season 6?
No, I did see that it dropped. I didn't watch it because my wife was asleep.
Okay, god damn it.
Because that's one of the things that she always wants to do with me is the Cobra Kai stuff.
Well, I don't really want to say. Well, it's only a 50-second trailer. It doesn't show a great deal, but it does give you the release date.
What is it?
This time it's broken up into 3 parts because this is going to be the biggest season. It's 15 episodes,
Okay.
and I think they're breaking it up into 3 parts. So I'm assuming 5 episodes each part. The first part starts July 18th. The second part is November 28th, and then the third part won't come out until next year sometime.
Okay.
Now I don't.
So
I don't
what
know-
you're saying is I may have another year
You
because I'd
have.
rather watch all of Cobra Kai in one go.
If you want to do it that way, then I would suggest that you just wait till next year to watch it because
Right.
it'll all be out.
It would be
Or-
interesting to wait for the whole thing to end and then go back and literally watch all of it.
Problem with me-
Watch all 4 movies and then watch the series just in a single run
Right.
and see how well it actually all stood up, because there's a lot of people that like get stuck on nostalgia and they're like, oh my god, this is so perfect, this is exactly what I wanted. Did you see this one and see that
No.
one? But like that doesn't necessarily mean that you actually caught everything or even half
Right.
of it. Or
There's
that
5
some stuff may have just literally been playing on your nostalgia but wasn't necessarily right. Like if you watch the movie, all of a sudden it doesn't quite feel right, you know what I mean?
I mean, you're
Yeah,
not
there's al-
wrong, Shane, but I mean, I don't know too many people that actually count.
And no, Kung Fu
Fucking
Kid
next
is
Karate
not the same
Kid.
thing.
If they actually cross him over in season 6, which there's been rumors that they want to bring in Dre, who Jaden Smith played, and bring in Mr. Han. Obviously, Jackie Chan's a big name.
I'd heard talk that they're actually going to do a Karate Kid movie
yes,
that will
which
feature Han and Daniel.
yes, because there is a movie I believe that Jackie Chan is working on with Ralph Macchio.
Right. That's a different thing altogether. That will not actually make, because I'm also hearing that that's not necessarily something that's supposed to be like driven canon or something. It's supposed to be something else.
Well, if that's the case, and then Dre and Mr. Han will not appear in season 6, we still haven't seen.
If they did, like,
Was it Hilary Swank that played in
Yeah.
the 4th? We haven't seen her character, or
No.
even I don't even think a reference to her character.
just to be fair, I'm going to count it as canon because
Mr. Miyagi is kind of
Miyagi's in it.
Right.
Mr. Miyagi kind of makes that movie canon because I
Right.
believe he does bring up Daniel-san in the movie.
Yeah, he does. He specifically
Yeah.
mentions, because he accidentally starts to walk in on her at one point, and she's like, "Sorry." He's like, "Had old house guest or whatever, was never an issue."
Yeah, so
Yep.
it's a little so the movie is canon to the greater Karate Kid story, but they haven't really referenced anything from that movie. So if they bring her, in or anything like that in season 6, then that's fine. But until then, you really only have to watch the 3 movies, Bill.
Well,
then
that's what I was saying to you, Shane, is quite literally most people, even though it is part of the canon, a lot of people don't consider it as such because Ralph has no touch on it whatsoever.
That and the movie
It's only Miyagi.
and the
Right.
movie wasn't all that great, in my opinion. But
It was fine.
It was all right.
It was
I watched
fine.
it like
I didn't say it
several
was.
times as
I
a
didn't
kid.
say it was bad. I just said it wasn't that great.
It was like one of the 7 movies that we were allowed to watch over the couple of summers that I was babysat by one lady. It was like either that or like Jingle All the Way
Okay.
or like fucking Dumb and Dumber or
You know,
fuck.
it hit me. It hit me just. I'm serious. I can't believe this. I saw this interview with Jim Carrey. Because you said that, it just fucking floored me. I saw an interview and they were talking about movies that he'd done and how he doesn't do sequels. They were talking about that. How, no, I'm serious. And it hit me that they were right because he did one sequel, which was Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Then he didn't do another sequel for 19 years. He cut out everything. He didn't do Mask 2 or anything like that. He finally came back to do Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yep.
And it hit me when I heard them say that. I've never seen that. So then I went to look it up. Like, well, shit, I'll just go watch it right now. It's got to be on a streaming service. Every single service wants you to pay.
Yep.
It's not actually on any streaming service. It's only for like rent or buy movie or whatever. And then I looked and I was like, well, I'm going to look up the preview to see if I even want to watch this at all because I never seen it. So I look at the trailer and then I look at the YouTube posting or the YouTube is like, this was like 9 years ago. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Now,
like,
if you're,
I'd never seen it.
if you're,
Well, I think the only reason why he came back for that one is because I think
Jeff Daniels.
I think it was the no, well, yes, with Jeff, but I think the original writers and directors came back as well.
Yeah.
So as soon as Jeff was like, "I'm on board" because it's the original guys, he literally turned to Jim, who's one of his best friends, and said, "Dude, come on, I can't do it without you." And he said, "All right, fine."
Well, if that's the case, that's the case, then you have only like 3 movies that he's ever done a sequel for.
Yep.
Yeah, because now he's also done Sonic.
Yep. And in this case, because he's not retiring, he is coming back for Sonic 3. This will be his first trilogy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now that's something that's strange. I kind of like that too because he doesn't, and if he doesn't believe in sequels and stuff. I mean, like, let's be real. We saw what the Son of the Mask was. It was shit.
I gotta rewatch the Sonic movies.
If you kind of want to be a bit of a smartass, though, technically he's done 4 sequels because when he was in Batman, that Batman movie was a sequel.
Yeah, but he never sequels his own characters. This is like very rare. But yeah, I need to rewatch Sonic 1 and 2 because I want to see that Knuckles series. It looks fun.
Yes, the Knuckles series does look pretty fun.
And I'd like to refresh myself before I do so.
Dude, I'm just excited for the 3rd movie because Shadow's in it, and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves, and I'm okay with that.
So here's the only thing that's going to become a bit of a
can
bitch.
Guess what kind of characters Shane likes?
Right.
What if there's a pattern here?
But anyway,
Shadow's my favorite.
Oh, that's amazing.
Shane,
that's very rare for you to like the edgy edgelord guy of the series. That's kind of wild. Like, who do you like in Dragon Ball?
Vegeta.
Oh, okay. I guess. What about like Hakushu? What do you got going on?
EA.
Oh, so little Vegeta. That's interesting. That's what
about Ninja Turtles?
Do you like? What?
Raphael.
Oh man, this is wild. Funny. I'm starting to pick up on a mild pattern here somewhere in your like systems. Like,
Shane.
Huh.
Who did Bill pick as when he did his Turtles review? Who did Bill pick as your turtle?
Raphael.
Oh, who did he pick Nick as?
Donatello.
Oh. Well, shit. What does that leave me as?
Michelangelo or Leo.
And you better get your shit together. I'm coming over to your house with my nunchucks. I'm gonna skin your ass
with nunchucks.
And
Maniac Mikey strikes again, motherfucker. Cowabunga it is.
I didn't realize until after I did it that they did give him that face. I was like, oh shit.
They gave him a Maniac Mikey face because I commented that. And you're like, oh shit.
Well, if it takes solace in knowing, Seth, that if all four of us were the turtles that Bill assigned us to, take solace in knowing that at least in the last Ronin, you live the longest.
Yep.
I'm the first one dead because
Uh-huh.
I got a temper because you killed my daddy, or no,
Yep.
you attacked my father and nearly killed my daddy, and now I'm mad and now I'm dead. And then Bill dies like a bitch in an explosion. He doesn't even get a chance.
Dang.
But you die with Casey
Yeah.
Jones. So and then
I
Oh,
then
you
still
mean
never read
second
it.
Raphael?
I keep
and then
telling
Nick.
myself I should read it because everybody seems to be straight up dick hard about it.
Well, I have a friend that I worked with at Cat that he's a huge turtle fan,
I know.
and all he did was talk about the last Ronin and how amazing it is.
Everybody has. Like
Well, hell, they're
it's
making
everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. They're talking about making a movie.
they're making a
it's like a
game.
literal overnight cultural phenomenon. And
Mm,
I just haven't done it yet. I don't really
Because
have anything against it. I just haven't read it because
because
well, I have
every
to buy it. And
well,
that's part of it. I would have to buy it. I know that it sounds like that wouldn't be a big deal, but when you're buying Conan the Barbarian, it costs $134 a volume. I don't have money for Turtles.
well, that's
yep.
easy. That's easy because turtles are better than that. So
No,
you can easily
no,
just
they're
switch
not
them.
even close.
No.
The
No,
current
I'm talking.
IDW run, it's not even close to the original Marvel Years quality of Conan the
Yep.
Barbarian.
This is coming from a guy who likes the turtles more than
You've never
He-Man.
read it.
Yeah.
I didn't say He-Man. The original
Master,
Marvel Years run of Conan the Barbarian is some of the
you said
best
Conan.
Marvel comics ever written in all of Marvel history. And I'm not kidding. I'm dead
Oh,
serious.
Yeah.
It's my fault. I didn't hear you right because He-Man kind of looks like Conan.
That's
Shane,
fair.
let me put it to you this way. The Marvel run of Conan is X-Men 97.
Well, okay. Well, I like X-Men '97.
Yeah, it's crazy
Yeah.
how good those books really were. Like the original Marvel run for Conan the Barbarian is incredibly solid, and for its time, it is far, far, far ahead of its time. Like it doesn't pull punches, people die, it's very serious, the continuity is very like strict. Like
Then it comes from a fan who understands and likes the turtles because that's what he grew up with and didn't grow up with Conan
yeah.
really. So wasn't so
Yeah.
but doesn't have a problem with Conan. Actually doesn't. I mean, I like Conan.
Now
I don't have an issue.
I read 100 issues of the current IDW, and I've read probably 200 issues, probably somewhere around there for the original stuff. Like I have the Ultimate Collection volume 1 through 7.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
And I've read a lot of Tales of TMNT
yeah.
and side stuff like that. And then I read some of the Nickelodeon reprints, and I've read almost all of Mirage.
But yeah, at least you get your own fucking book comic series, Seth.
Yep.
Since you be the last one alive.
Yep. You know what else I would get?
What?
I would get you to say bye because we should probably wrap up soon since I know Bill's got to leave pretty quick.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
actually fair because I gotta go get her, and then aside from that, I think I gotta meet my dad at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then I don't know.
Oh, you mean about when I got to go pick up my wife from work so I can come home, go to bed, and go to work where hopefully I don't have to stab my coworkers with a fucking wooden spoon?
Yeah, that'd be nice, I guess.
Use a metal spoon. It'll...
Shane, they left us dishes that literally went to the ceiling. It's
Oh.
normally two of us on a Friday night. My coworker got in at 10. He didn't get done doing that shit till like 3 in the fucking morning. And there was a
wooden
concert in town last night.
Oh snap!
I had to do like a $2,000 day by my fucking self.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm still a little pissy about that.
well, if we're done, I guess then I can go ahead and do the thing. It's up to you guys. You guys, are we all good?
No, I think so.
All right.
We're at about the 2 hour mark. The chat has kind of died down a little bit. We kind of left Star Wars a little while ago and just kind of started treading out.
That's what
And
happens.
I'd rather these episodes stay solid. Like, I'd rather us be on the track of doing episodes that are worth going back and listening to. So if we start to fade out, it's time to kill the episode, and we'll make another one the next week or whatever. It's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've done this podcast. I think we're done.
All right, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.